Hello Aries, welcome to Monarch Intuition, and today I'm going to be doing your March 2023 mid-monthly check-in reading for you. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is I like to pull one major arcana to see the energy and then clarify with a different deck. So what major arcana is coming out for the sign of Aries? What do we need to know for you? You have the moon, so something is being hidden in the dark right here, so some sort of mystery is about the occult. The moon can represent treachery and tragedy at the same time. But I do feel like you're in the dark about something. You're kind of going around in circles. The moon represents being lost in the woods at night, right? So when we look at this moonlight energy, your best bet is to kind of sit down and wait for the hermit to illuminate something to you. In order for the hermit to come to you, you have to kind of just surrender to the darkness. So I'm not saying to surrender to like evil intentions or whatever. It's just kind of like surrendering to the fact that you're lost. You don't know where you're going. So your best bet is to sit there and wait for someone to help you. Don't get any more lost in the darkness, right? So what's going on with this moonlight energy? What do we need to know for you? You have the Nine of Swords, you're anxious, which can be representation of the moon energy. You have the Two of Wands in reverse, and you have the Empress. So when I see this Nine of Swords, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go with this Two of Wands. It's kind of like you have kind of hit a standing point within your life, stagnation. But I feel like everything is open up to you with this Empress. I feel like you just need to find your way out of the woods. You need to sit there and wait for someone to illuminate something to you. But your Nine of Swords energy is that you're going around in circles. You feel paranoid, you feel anxious, because you don't know what's coming next. So with this Empress energy, make home in the darkness right here. Make a home where you are. If you feel stuck out in the woods, if you feel trapped, if you feel like there's nowhere to go, then sit there in the woods and say, okay, well, how can I make this my home? How can I build this woods into my cottage so someone can come and find me? Well, the first thing that you're going to need to do is survive the night, right? And then once the dawn comes, once the sun comes out, you can start, planning a proper course of action, finding water, finding food, building a shelter for yourself. But if you're lost out in the woods, there's nothing that you can do except kind of sit there and have this self-preservation moment. So what do we need to know about this Nine of Swords? It's kind of like testing you. What are you going to do, Aries? What's going on? We have the Magician, and we have the Nine of Swords. So double clarification of the Nine of Swords. I feel like you think it's some sort of black magic spell. I feel like you think someone has put something on you. It's like the curse of anxiety. I don't really think it's a curse of anxiety, Aries. What I feel like is that you've survived a lot of different things within your life, and at certain points within your life, when you look back on them, you can be more anxious. It's like, how did I survive that? How did I get through that situation within my life? It's nothing short. It feels like a magic trick. What's this Two of Wands in reverse? The Queen of Swords with the the Ace of Pentacles. This is about as close to the Hermit as you're going to get. Someone is going to tell you the truth behind something. Someone is going to give you the answers to a situation within your life. And that's what you need. You're waiting for this information to come out, and that's what's going to be delivered to you. What is this information? The Eight of Swords. Well, it's going to be different for everyone. The Eight of Swords represents that you're stuck. You don't know what to do. You're kind of going around in circles. What's this Empress energy? The Seven of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. I kind of feel like, in a way, you feel like someone has kind of stolen your luxury. Someone has stolen the footing beneath you, okay? The Two of Pentacles does represent some sort of harmony and balance. With the Seven of Swords, it feels like someone has taken that away. Maybe at one point within your life, you were this Empress energy. You were sitting there, you're looking good, you're feeling good, but it feels like someone has moved that away from you, and that's what's putting you in this anxious moment. How did this person get away with all of that? How did this person put you in this situation? You have the Ten of Cups, you have the Lovers, you have the Eight of Pentacles. I kind of feel like, in a weird way, it's because your love of work or your love of someone. Maybe you were too focused on a situation within your life, and that's why I never really do love readings right here, is that people always focus on love, and then they don't really see what's going on beneath their noses, right? So it's kind of like when the cat's away, the rats will play. That's why this situation happened to you, Aries, is because you were so focused on something else, and you're putting your time and attention into that. It could have been a relationship, family, partnership, whatever the situation is, but that allowed someone to get away with something right here. And that's what destabilized you. And that's why you're currently going through this situation. You have the Queen of Wands, you have the Wheel of Fortune, and you have the Three of Wands. So what I'm seeing is that your fortune will change, but it does require you to stand there and wait. And that's probably the worst thing for Aries, is that you have this base energy of Aries, this Three of Wands right here. I know the Two of Wands is technically the base energy, but you have the Three of Wands right here, where you have to wait for the situation to change for you. You sent out your ships, and now you're having to wait for those ships to come back. So try to take as best care of yourself as you can. Try to do the things that you need to do for yourself. Try to take care of, your life, your laundry, the things that you can do. I wouldn't say, bury yourself in busy work, but I feel like that's a way to take your mind off of things. Instead of just, going over tarot card readings, instead of, just going around in circles and not sure what to do, you're waiting for some, hope of inspiration. Channel that anxious energy into doing something fulfilling for yourself and to changing the way things can go. Just doing a couple of things here and there, making sure you take a shower, making sure you eat something, doing your laundry. Eating is a very big thing. If you drink a lot of coffee and you don't eat, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. The Hierophant, the Knight of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. So with this Hierophant, this Knight of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles energy, illumination is coming towards you, but it's coming towards you in a very stagnant way. It is moving, but it's moving kind of slowly with the Seven of Pentacles. Now, with the Knight of Wands, it does mean that it's, having a major breakthrough. It is coming, very quickly. And I feel like it is coming from a direct source of the divine, so direct enlightenment right here. But it's going to be a minute before you have this breakthrough for yourself. What is this breakthrough? The King of Pentacles, with the Five of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. That's what the situation is. It's kind of like being a good steward with what you have. It's also about the concept of the Wheel of Fortune. When one thing goes down, something has to go up. When something goes up, something has to go down. The law of equivalent exchange, the balance of the scales right here, right? So you can go from the King of Pentacles into the Five of Pentacles and back into the King of Pentacles. And I kind of feel like you're going from the King of Pentacles into this impoverished state with the Five of Pentacles, just to be left being this Page of Wands right here. Kind of being an initiate to a new situation. So this is wrapping up a cycle, trying to complete something. Trying to complete something to the end this time. Not getting sidetracked by things that, you shouldn't have been sidetracked in with the past. You have the Page of Pentacles being offered. You have the Empress coming out with the Knight of Swords, being offered a new opportunity for the Empress right here. A new message is coming towards you, a new message that is going with this Queen of Swords and this Ace of Pentacles. Now you have the Page of Pentacles with the Knight of Swords and the Empress coming out. So a new way to make money. It's kind of like going back to your roots right here. How did you used to make money in the past? I feel like that's what you're doing right now. It's kind of like healing and recovering. Instead of just going around in circles, instead of thinking about a situation constantly, instead of, late at night when you feel like your anxiety is through the roof, what you need to do is put down your tarot cards, put down your videos, put down whatever it is that, makes you go kind of crazy. Do something constructive for yourself. Okay? And then this time, when you finally do all of these constructive things, you will be more aware of the red flags coming into your life. You will be more proactive and not letting certain people into your life. When you put in a lot of time and effort into making sure that your life becomes, stable again, and whatever this is, you're not going to want to just let anyone back into your life, Aries. You have the Seven of Cups, you have the Six of Pentacles, and you have the Chariot coming out. So with the Seven of Cups, the Six of Pentacles, you're waiting for the angel to deliver a message to you, and it's going to be perfectly blended with the Chariot energy. Remember, the Chariot is the concept of divine blending of yin and yang. That's why there's one black Sphinx with the white headdress and the one white Sphinx with the black headdress. He's crowned with the stars, represent his mastery over duality right here. So I feel like you're just waiting for the angel to come in to deliver you this Chariot message. Now you have all of these different things that are sidetracking to you, and it's kind of like, allowing divine intervention to play out. Allowing the universe and rolling with the universe right here. And I know a lot of people say, well, how do you roll with the universe? How do you, really understand concepts of divine connection and divine alchemy and allowing angels to come into your life? Because a lot of people don't believe in that stuff, right? Here's how. Whenever you do a good deed, you send out ripples into the universe. Eventually, those ripples have to come back to you. When you do something bad, you send out ripples into the universe, and those have to come back to you as well. That is the concept of equivalent exchange, right? What goes around comes around. That's also karma. So what you have to do is you have to stay on the right path. You have to do the right thing. You have to heal from a situation. You have to go through this cycle. You have to put out good karma into the universe by doing good things for people. Even when it doesn't really feel good for you, you still have to help people, okay? And then by doing that, you're not just going to accept the first Joe Schmo that comes along. You're just not going to accept that job that comes along. You're going to see through it. You're going to look at like that person and not just, dismiss the red flags. You're going to say that person has red flags. No, thank you. You're going to look at that job and say that job has a lot of red flags. No, thank you. And you're going to wait until something is properly shown to you, something that is actually, perfectly connected. Things that are perfectly connected to you are not going to give you anxiety, okay? Things that are perfectly connected for you are not going to make you stay up at night thinking about the same thing over and over and over again, all right? It's a different form of anxiety. Anxiety means you're scared. This one is like, just constantly mulling over, like, when can I heal from this? What's going to happen next? Whatever. So you need to wait for the proper alignment right here, not getting sidetracked by all of these different apparitions. There's a tower, there's the head of Medusa, there's a dragon, but there's also fame and wealth. But then there's the angel that sits in the tower, or not in the tower, but in this one cup. That is the concept of this chariot energy. Something that can be perfectly blended through harmony and duality and be offered to you at the right moment. Something that is going to be kind of like an aha moment or a eureka moment. Something that moves you in a very different way. The Hanged Man, the Hermit, and the Eight of Wands. You're going to receive some sort of divine clarity, divine enlightenment, but it does require you to kind of be in this stable mode right here, kind of hanging yourself upside down to gain the enlightenment that the Hermit is bringing to you. You have to have patience. That's what the whole reading was about at the beginning. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. Get back in this chair. So we have the Hanged Man and the Hermit, right? You waiting for this divine enlightenment to come towards you. And when it does, it'll come in very quickly. It's going to be something that's kind of shocking to you. So this is a very cut and dry reading for you, Aries. I feel like you're just going through, it seems like a dark night of the soul, and I hate saying that because it's very cliche. So let's explain what that is. It's where you kind of hit rock bottom. That's what Dark Night of the Soul is. You don't know what to do. It's like your worst breakup because it keeps you up at night. It gives you heart palpitations. It makes you kind of sick. It makes you anxiety. Because here's the thing. When you have, when you go through a really bad breakup, you break these things called heartstrings, right? It's grief. And you can only break so many heartstrings before your heart gives out. That's why this is such a painful process for you, all right? So that's what Dark Night of the Soul is. It's understanding that in a way you are dying, okay? It hurts. You're purging this from your system. You are all of a sudden cold turkey from certain chemical compounds within your brain like dopamine and serotonin. And this could be, dealing with grief right here. So the loss of a loved one, a loss of a relationship. This is, you coming to terms with that for yourself and saying, I'm healing, right? And when you heal from a situation, you become wiser. A lot of people don't actually heal from situations. They'll break up with someone and get back in a relationship, 2 weeks later because they can't go through the healing process. They get out of a bad job. They don't, take a couple of weeks to recover and recuperate. They just immediately go and look for a new job. I understand when you need money, you need money. However, if there is possibility where you can just take a couple of days, maybe a week to yourself to just, regenerate and recover, that's something that's very important right here. This is all about waiting for that enlightenment to come in, not taking any action towards something, sitting there in that kind of anxious moment, but being productive at the same time. Instead of saying, well, I'm just going to sit here and wallow and look at my cards or look at this and that, whatever, I'm going to go and fix some food for myself. I'm going to learn a new recipe. I'm going to, take up an instrument. Whatever this situation is for you, Aries, do not allow yourself to get caught in the mire of this, okay? You need to be kind of productive right here. And when I say productive, go at your own pace. Everyone heals at their own pace, right? But this is about being productive and healthy. Don't just forego basic hygiene and basic sanitation. No, take that shower. use some good hair conditioner, whatever you got to do, right? You have the King of Wands, you have the Page of Cups, and you have the Star. So take care of yourself. See your goals. See your goals all the way through. The King of Wands is here to show you, with this Page of Cups energy, how to reach your goals, how to reach your highest aspirations, how to reach the highest purpose of who you are, okay? Someone is teaching you right here. Someone is showing you the way of, this is what you want, this is what you have to deal with in order to get that. This all boils down to just bad decisions all the way around, okay? There's no way to sugarcoat that. Bad decisions lead us down treacherous paths, okay? And we all have done this within our lives, all right? No one can throw stones from a glass house. I'm just here to deliver this message, right? Everyone's done stupid stuff that they regret, whether it be in relationships, jobs, just in general. When we look back on it, we can say, I wish I had never done that, especially when you're going through the healing phases. Well, that's the great thing about it. You don't have to do that going into the future. All you have to do is focus on recovery right now. All you have to do is just move past whatever this anxious state is by being productive, by looking at it and saying, okay, sure, whatever, and moving forward from there and saying, just because this ended in catastrophe doesn't mean I can't see the stars from here. So, what's going on with your spellcasting oracle? What do we need to know for you? And not allowing those people who hurt you that badly to go back into your life. Whatever it is, it could be family, friends, relationships, because that's another thing, is that people get halfway through the healing process, and then that person comes bebopping along and saying, hey, how are you doing? Like, no. You don't let those types of people back into your life. People who hurt you that badly, no. Grieving, clarity. So I do feel like you're grieving right here. But here's the thing, this is the clarity that you need. Now, I'm not trying to be harsh if you've just recently lost someone. This is not what that is. You need to take your time to feel these emotions to actually move through this situation, okay? But I feel like clarity is being brought to you. Looking back on your past will show you how everything kind of changes things for the future. Just because this ends up badly doesn't mean the future can't be great. The dark night of the soul, that concept right there, it's a very painful process. A lot of people cannot make it through it. That's why you always see people, just never progress in life. They deal with the heartbreak for a period of time, and then they say, no, I can't do this anymore, and they go out and, they get on their little dating apps or whatever. They find someone new. And it always ends up the same way because they cannot see the red flags because they've not recovered from something. When you finally do put in the time and effort to make it past whatever it was, you will say, I will never, ever put myself in that situation again. And granted, 9 times out of 10, you never will. So what do we need to know about this for Aries? I'm going to be using the Halloween Oracle card. You have Graveyard, Unnecessary Fear, and the Lamp, Remembrance. It's okay to look back on the past, okay? Don't be scared to do that because it's a point of recognition, all right? You have to recognize what has happened in the past, and it doesn't always have to be a relationship. This could be, you dabbled with something that you shouldn't have dabbled with, and now it plagues you, and now you kind of wish you could go back, but here's the thing, you can't go back and change it. All you can do is look for the future. If you're seeking some sort of redemption, it's already done. That's the thing. So you can look back on the past and say, you know what? I never want to make someone have to go through the things that I did that made me go down that path. All right? And that's the thing. There's a lot of people when they go down those paths, it's because either out of desperation or just the want to know. If someone had explained it to you and told you the dangers of it, chances are if you actually had full spectrum and scope of what was actually going on, you never would. 9 times out of 10, if people know the bad things that could happen to them and have everything explained to them up front, that wouldn't happen to them, right? Bad things wouldn't happen. Now, granted, you're always going to have people who test the spirits anyway, even when they know they shouldn't, but you've made it through this. So now go through your healing process and move forward. You have Unseen and you have Dance. So I feel like maybe you just need to dance. turn on some music. It doesn't matter how stupid you look. Just turn on some music. Turn on some, like, you know, turn on something filthy. And just dance. So with this dance energy, well, okay, I can't really tell you to do that, all right? I shouldn't tell you to turn on something filthy. Turn on something that has a good beat, okay? Turn on something that, you know, makes you feel something. And, you know, that's up to you. Preferably turn on something that's good, okay? Glamour with the fairy, sovereignty with the crow. And that's the thing. You will understand the fairy's glamour once you become sovereign like the crow, okay? You will sit there and you'll recognize the devil like that when it comes to you, because you'll always notice something is too perfect and too pretty to be true. And you'll say, why is that here now? Especially when things aren't going so great within your life. Ooh, there's a song. It's by LaRue. It's called Bulletproof. That's a good song that you... Or, is it Bulletproof? I think so. She goes, I've learned to love, or I've not learned to love until it's cheap. And that right there, a lot of people get confused about it. What does it mean, cheap love? No, it means until you can go to a restaurant and order whatever you want to on the menu and not worry about how much something is, you shouldn't probably love someone. Okay, I've learned not to love until it's cheap, something like that. So it's all about being able to afford it. Okay, because a lot of people get stuck in relationships that they don't want to be stuck in because they're too afraid to be alone and working on hard things. But you'll understand this when you look at the glamour energy. When you see that things are not going so great in your life and then something that's just too perfect seems to pop up, it's there to drag you back down to point one. When you finally do recover from something, when you finally move past and ascend past whatever this trial, this grief is right here, you will understand that sovereign energy. I will never drag myself back down to whatever that was, right? So let's look at your rune cards. And then the chorus of that song is, this time, baby, I'll be bulletproof. Makes sense, right? Perthos, secret. Chance, gambling, secrets, windfall, synchronicity, and birth. Spiritual meaning is fate, the feminine, and uncertainty. You have answers. Open your mind, connect with the higher power, broaden your horizons, and invoke wisdom. So let me look at your... one last card. Cunning with the fox, okay? So I feel like you're going to be more cunning with this energy. Once you finally understand it, you're going to understand how the fairy works, how the devil works, how the demons operate, because that's kind of what the fairy represents. Remember, demons were originally fairies. The incubi and succubi were just satyrs and incubi, or satyrs and nymphs. That's where we get satyromania and nymphomania from, right? So with this fairy energy, you have to understand it's cunning, but you have to also be smarter than that. You have to understand where you went wrong within your past and how to not let it happen again, to be bulletproof, right? So anyway, Aries, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll talk to you later.